Hi, I'm going to show you how to do a repair on a window jamb on a double hung spring balance window. This window is from 1984. I don't know who the manufacturer of the window was, but the problem that we had was that one of the panes was not being supported properly by the springs, so it would sag down. So what I've done here is I've taken out the jamb on both sides to kind of show you what the problem is now. In a couple of issues, the spring balance mechanism is this metal piece here. On the back side of it, there's a spring pulley system. Then there's this locking piece, but it's made of plastic. It slides in the track. And it has this teeth that will lock and keep the window in position. But it can become faulty. Sometimes this needs to be lubricated. And sometimes this piece will just break. Now, that's what happened in this case. On the two jambs, on one side a piece broke. And so the window was only being supported by half the strength. So it would sag down. And it would just be a little bit harder to work. If it breaks on both sides, then it's more of a problem. The window completely drops down, and you have to use some sort of a stick to keep it in position. Okay, so first, here's an example of what this looks like when the jamb is in place. That's the normal operation. It's got a strip here, which is a weather strip. There's also a strip at the top, which you can't really see through there, but in order to get this jamb out, you need to take out this weather strip that's stapled in. It comes out with not too much trouble. And then there's also a strip up at the top that needs to come out. Okay, once you do that, you can then start essentially just prying out the jamb. This particular jamb is held in with these clips. There are 3 clips in this for this size window. And what happens is it's impossible to unclip this portion of it. So as you start prying this out, what happens is these clips actually will come out from the wood. The staples that are holding it in are not very strong, and the wood is fairly soft. So for example, on this side you'll see I've already shown that, these clips haven't come out. I put this clip back in. So here's the jamb that I took out on that side. Still has 2 of these clips in position. I'm going to remove these and simply nail them back in to the jamb. When prying them out, I did originally try to find ways to unclip, and it was totally impractical. Could not figure out a way to do that, but as you begin pulling and prying out with a pry bar on this, the jamb does start coming out, but it's because the staples are pulling out, and you can see the staples they're not barbed or anything like that. They will come out, so you just have to be patient and gentle. The vinyl it can crack, and it can become damaged, but it will still work fine. This one, for example, I got a crack here, a deep deformation there. As I was taking out the windows, the double hung windows, this part here cracked, okay, because it is older. I don't think that's a serious problem. I think that's still going to work fine, but just something to keep an eye on. Now, when you take these out, you have to release. When you take the window out, this spring is going to be under tension when you first take it out. And it's a procedure that you can find on the internet. To release the tension with a screwdriver, you put the screwdriver in and you pull on it and twist it, and then you can release that locking cam up. And you have to be very careful when you do that, because if it slips out, if the screwdriver slips out and that plastic piece rockets up, what can happen is the plastic piece can crack. And that actually happened was I taking out this jamb, taking out the window sash on this side. This side originally wasn't damaged, but in taking it out, I did damage it. So then I had to take this jamb off. So the way this happens, the way this works is this will slide out, and I had a replacement. I had a replacement piece because I had a previous window in my basement I had to replace with a new window, and I saved some of the pieces to this window, this jamb, so that I could reuse them. So I've already taken out one of those spring balance mechanisms. I have another one here that I'm going to be using. I'm going to slide it out here. And I will show you some of the steps as I take this one out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this mechanism to this here where it's broken. This one, I'm not quite sure exactly how this one broke because this was the original problem. The window was sagging. The window pane was sagging because it was only getting weight from one side because this had broken off. So I'm going to replace that. And I'll show you a few of those steps as we go. Okay, here's the first step. I've basically slid out this channel from here. I had to slide out this little cap. And you can see underneath the spring, this lock is a locking tab. This in position, that's what keeps it in place there. It's got a pulley, it's got this locking cam. That's the piece that I'm going to be reusing. So I'm going to untie this, take that piece off. Now here's the broken one over here. I slid that one out. Okay, everything is fine in here, with the exception of this locking of this cam, which had snapped previously. It snapped many years ago, but now I'm finally going to get into replacing it. Okay, so I'll show you later. Okay, here I pulled out the locking cam. And then I wrapped the cord around a little, in this case it's just a piece of metal with a rough surface, just to take the tension off the string. And I did that on both of them. You need to take the tension off, otherwise you can't work on the end. Okay, so that's step one. Okay, here I have successfully untied the knot on the end, which holds the cam on. Some people are good at untying small knots. These knots can have a lot of, they can be very tight because of the tension they've been under for a long period of time. So they might not come out so easily. On the other jamb that I broke when I was taking it out, I couldn't untie the knot at all. I kept pulling on it and pulling on it. Now I used various tools, my teeth, fingernails, little pairs of pliers, and everything I could think of. How I finally got that one off was using this very sharp tweezers and prying it in between the section of the knot to pull it open. And I was finally, after doing that, able to get the knot off. Now, it turned out I actually frayed right through some of the cord to get the knot finally free. So I lost a little piece off the end. It's actually like that as I was frying it off. Now, if you had to cut the knot, you'd lose more than just this. So I spent more time. I tried to undo the knot. I couldn't. I destroyed the knot actually just trying to untie it. I don't think that's a big deal, because compared to the total length of the cord, the small piece I lost is probably not going to be a problem. It'll increase the tension just by a small amount. On that window, I don't think I'll notice it. Okay, so now I'm going to slide off these cams, I'm going to put the replacement cam onto the one that I need to fix, and I'll start to reassemble. Okay, I was able to push through the cord through the cam here, and the end is going to not really want to be straight, so it's hard to feed it through, but if you can feed it through like you would drawstring on a pair of pajamas with a needle. And then I tied it off, and now it's ready to go in position. The other one, of course, I don't need to do anything with that because this is my spare piece, or you might call it just a scrap piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the tension carefully by unwrapping this and then letting this slide all the way back in position. I don't want the spring to pull, rapidly on this. If this were to release, for example, I could end up just cracking another one of these. Okay, I released that slip knot on my piece of metal, and I carefully allowed this to come back in position. On the other one, I didn't have to do anything careful. That's just my spare piece. Okay. Now I'm going to take the new piece and I'm going to slide it into position in the jam. Okay, here's how I have positioned a screwdriver into the cam, and in order to get the track to slide in. The tension on the cam is going to make it hard to get it to feed in place, and I just used a screwdriver to help out there. Okay, I've slid the balance mechanism all the way down in the track. Being careful to put the clip on the back. The clip that's on the back of the mechanism, it wants to clip onto the track. Clip head needs to be in place in order for this to work properly. Okay, so now this jam is ready to slide back into the window. Okay. Okay, you can see that I've put the clips back in position, and now it's really as simple as just lining up the jam, making sure that there's nothing hanging it up, and it's in the track, and then it should be possible to simply clip it in to the clips. You should hear it snap. There you go. The whole thing has a certain amount of cushion to it. Okay, so that's the cam. So this side is ready to go. I need to put in the other side also as part of the reassembly. Okay, now I've put in the jam on the other side. After it's in, make sure that it's properly in the groove and that it's clipped into each of the clips. On this side, I noticed that one of the teeth or the little barbed pieces on that clip was bent too far in. It wasn't actually lining up with the groove that was supposed to snap into, so it wasn't going in properly. So I had to just fiddle with it a bit, and then I finally got it to go in the thing. As long as the clips don't become a physical obstruction to it going into position, they really wouldn't otherwise even be needed. But when you put them in there, make sure that they clip in properly, okay? Okay, now I'm going to attempt to put in the upper sash. And to do that, I have pulled down the cams. I put a screwdriver in, I push down, I rotate the screwdriver this way to try to get the teeth to engage in the side of that channel. I do that on both sides. I don't take it down any further than I need to in order to try to get that window back in place. The reason is because if I push them down much further, they'll be under a lot more tension. And if this cam were to slip for any reason, it'll shoot all the way back up. And I might crack another one of these, okay? So I've tried to pull them down. I'm gonna try to get the sash in. I might have to push this a little further down in order to get the sash to fit properly. But if I do, I'll take care of that at that point.
Okay, I should mention before I put the upper sash in, I replaced this strip insulation strip on the top. Okay, I got the upper sash into the tracks. I did have a little bit of a problem. I got the sash in properly, but the cams would end up not always traveling with the window. They would get stuck in a position in the window. So I lubricated the track because you want that cam to slide freely in the track. Only the teeth on the cam do you want to lock into the side of the track. You don't want the actual plastic part of the cam getting stuck in the track. And when the cam is very close to the window, there's not a lot of tension on it, so it can get stuck. So I lubricated it with silicone spray, which I've seen on the internet. I just put a lot in there. I just worked it up and down. Now the cam moves properly on both sides. So these windows, they do require maintenance that way to clean the tracks out. Now, a way to test it is when it's up near the top, that's when the springs are not applying a lot of force. And if you push it up, sometimes the window will sag down a little bit. And that makes it slightly inconvenient to lock it. But when it was only working on one side, I pushed up to the top and then it would drop down maybe half an inch, just enough so that I couldn't lock it. I'd have to use two hands, one hand to hold it up, another hand to lock it. Now, it seems to be working fine, so I would say this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and put the other window in, but I don't expect any problem. Then I'll replace this insulation strip at the bottom, and everything will be back as normal. Okay, I put the inner sash, the lower sash. I put this ceiling strip in the bottom. I still need to permanently attach that, but I've just placed it in position now. Everything works fine. I can lock it, and everything looks good to go. And I should hopefully get more years out of this window.